when it comes to a hazmat response, speed and accuracy are everything.
Right. Speed and power, baby.
Well, speed and power, that's a Clarkson Farm thing, but speed and accuracy, that's a 908 thing.
That's the little black box from 908, if you will, and the little red box now from Redwave.
Yeah, and it's why teams all around the world are starting to trust 908 devices. Their handheld MX908 and the Explorer IR are absolutely changing the game.
Yeah, that's the 908 is one of those few devices out there that can actually identify the Novichoks.
Yeah, not only Novichok, but all sorts of chemical warfare agents, pharmaceutical-based agents, drugs, and explosives. And here's the key to it, at trace levels. No one else can.
Right. That's awesome. And I know the Explorer IR can identify and quantify over 5,000 gases and vapors in seconds, and that is going to change the game.
Yep, that's why it was a true statement. HazMat teams around the world are trusting 908 devices. You guys can check them out at 908devices.com and upgrade your meter.
Well. We're back.
Everybody.
Yes. So lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, episode 474. Hopefully it will be a very intelligent conversation, whether it's artificially intelligent or naturally intelligent. We're not quite sure yet. But before we get into that, what do we got to tell them?
Jake Hazard Class on iTunes and all that Snapify and all that stuff all you kids are playing with. Go check out and subscribe to his podcast. It's a lot of fun. He's got Santa Claus coming on for Christmas.
We're letting you know now. This is the podcast that you want to be able to be like, I've been listening to him since the beginning. Like you could be that guy that's been listening to the podcast from the beginning. Jake is going to absolutely soar with this thing.
Yeah, and then the industrial strength hazmat harder show is out as well. They just dropped their first episode, and I believe we just recorded number 11.
All right, for our premium members, make sure that you are joining us for the monthly HazMat happy hour. Maybe we can get these hosts onto the happy hour to have a little bit of a behind the scenes conversation. Remember, never recorded, so everything you say, it's a hazmat safe space for my millennials and my Gen Z out there.
Yeah, and every time you come on to the HazMat happy hour, you're going to be entered into a scholarship to get a free admission to the Southernmost HazMat Conference, which is going to be February 3 through 5 of 2026. So put it on your calendar because it's in Key West.
Yeah, it's a contest. You don't just automatically go because you.
No,
sorry guys. Got to pick a few people.
But lots of great hazmat swag, all that kind of stuff. So get yourself into the store and see what we have. The Nerd 2 book is out.
Sales are going ready hot. To go. Going.
Yeah, so
our AFG grant is rocking and rolling. It's coming to an end soon, so you probably missed the window. But if you want to know more about how we can help you get grant funding from an incredible grant specialist, reach out to us and we'll get you on the schedule.
Okay, I got the topic. The title of this show is AI for the Save ? So I was recently in a class, and this honestly shouldn't shock anybody that much. I was shocked at how well it did.
Yeah, that's where my shock is not that it's happened at some point, right? My shock is that it happened so quickly. I mean, ChatGPT has only come out, a year ago? Yep. Like, if that a year ago. And we played with this kind of stuff when it first came out, and we were like, it leaves a lot to be desired. So, Bob, what happened at your class?
I gave a scenario out, and it's kind of one of my final scenarios where they got to do a little bit of the technical reference. They got to do a little sleuth work. I want them to understand like the chemical and physical properties, like, is the story. I do a whole thing where if you're looking for a dog, it should smell like the dog, look like the dog, bark like the dog, all that stuff. And so because I give them an injury, I want them to take it from the sample portion and show me how to sample and meter and all that stuff and take it right through the HazCat and then you can give me your PPE. Now, I don't really give them all of the off ramps on it, because when you're in these classes and they teach you HazCatting, everybody thinks they have to get to the chemical, and a lot of times that's not necessary. You can just get off and go, it's a flammable. I got my PPE. I really don't. You guys continue doing that HazCat thing. I can continue getting ready and going down range and handling this crap.
Right.
So I set the scenario up to be, I give them the scenario. I give them the meter readings, right? So I tell you, oh, you got a response on this, you didn't get a response on this. You got a response on this, you didn't get a response on this. And I go through all the different technologies, and I pull the sample. I give them the test tube, right? As they come up and they show me how they're going to sample, I give them the test tube. And before I'm handing it out, a guy from class comes up with his cell phone and he goes, is this it? And he just puts the cell phone. Now, also, there was one or two extra questions. It was like, well, what are the people feeling? So I give them the symptomology.
Okay. I got 21 questions.
Like, hey, listen, if I was coming to a scene, I would go and talk to the guy or talk to the bus driver or whoever it might be. So they asked 2 or 3 questions, and I said, all right, let it rip, go. And the guy comes up to me with his phone, and he goes, is this it? And he had it. Like, the chemical was done. And I'm like, I don't know. Now go and check it out.
Were you able to maintain composure?
I did.
Did you give away any, were you like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. All right. Go check it out. Or were you like, are you no, go check it out.
No, I did maintain composure. However, I was kind of hovering by that table to see, if they were tracking, because if one of the things I tell them, and for those of you out there that are listening about HazCatting, is the question inevitably comes up, especially in the more advanced ones, is, can I HazCat? If I look at a test tube and say, this is sugar, I put this in my coffee every day, I know exactly what sugar. Can you go and do the sugar test? And the answer is yes. However, is that the answer? I say no. When we're trained to do these HazCatting, I know this is not really a HazCat type thing, but I want you to get the whole thing of how this whole happened, is that if you get that sugar and it comes up as positive, we are taught that it's a linear progression down to that outcome. Right. Whereas if I jump the sugar, I now know every path that should be on the way back. And now you can jump into a parallel system where, okay, Mike, this should be soluble. Do the solubility test. Joe, at the same time, check if it's flammable. Sal, this should be a negative oxidizer. Frank, this should be neutral. And if everybody checks out, then we are on the right one. But if one of those things comes wrong, then instead of it taking 20 minutes, it could take 2 minutes to do the whole test.
Right.
Okay. So the answer, trichloroethylene. Trichloroethane. Ethyl. Wasn't ethyl. Yeah, it was ethyl. Ethylene.
Okay.
And after it was done, I was like, holy crap. So we did it for another scenario, and it worked again.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So they used AI to take the situation, take signs and symptoms, and determine what the chemical is.
Right.
I have to say that's pretty damn impressive. So where does that leave us?
I don't know. This almost brings you back, like, we've come almost around to the circle, right? Where back in the day, there was the wives' tale of 3 sources. You must have your 3 sources. And then you're like, all right, show me where it says I need 3 sources. And there is no place. It was just best practices. I get it. Because back then, you were in books and you were doing things. But now we've come to the point where we have like PubChem and Cameo and, ERDSS, or Chemical Companion, where it's seriously like one-stop shopping. But now add in AI.
It looks like one-stop shopping to us, but when we go to AI is doing multiple searches.
Right.
Right.
So now with AI, whether you use it, whatever flavor you're using, ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever, the vast majority of them give them the citation of where it found it.
Right.
Like you could just click on the citation and it takes you right to that webpage.
Right,
So
right. It'll say
doing that
PubChem.
legwork.
It'll
for
say,
you.
yeah.
But would I put a scenario into AI and say, "Oh, we got their answer. Let's just go"?
No,
I don't know if I would do that.
No, I think you would use it like you would a taking
like
a
a
guess at
research
sugar.
assistant.
Well, I think you would use it like you're taking a guess at sugar, right? You're like, okay, this is what I think it is. Let me go and back check, and I'm going to test my theory in multiple spots and see if it holds true.
Yep. Like I bet that you could just say, I think my sample is sugar. If this is true, what tests would be positive or negative to get sugar? And then it would give you the short, sweet route to get there. But in addition to that, like you can almost say, well, if it's sugar, then will it have a Raman spectroscopy signature or FTIR signature?
Yeah, I wonder if there was a generalized prompt that, right? Because if you don't work with AI is very, very prompt driven. Like you shit in, shit out, right? That's kind of the right. So the better your prompt, the better your results are. If you could have a prompt that's tailored to your team, what you have, and then it can go by and it can kind of deduce that, kind of break things apart. And I don't know. I think it's an amazing tool. Even if you didn't use it to do the first guess, let's say you used it to kind of see like, all right, well, this is what I got. Let me see what AI thinks.
Right. Check my math or get me in the ballpark.
Right. You know, this is my thought process.
One of the major problems in today is that AIs do research based upon the interwebs, and you don't know what's on the interwebs, and you can't tell it really. Oh, I only want you to look at, you can say I want reputable sources or something like that, but it's very, very hard to get it to say, no, I only want you to read these books.
Right.
That's not as easy to do. And I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying you have to have a lot of money to do it.
Did you know that in 2022, there were 748 preventable hazmat incidents in the United States alone?
Yeah, as a responder, your top priority is safety and efficiency, but without the proper training, your team's competence is at risk.
At the HazMat Guys, we bring tens of thousands of hands-on experience hours to elevate your team's experience. Our training is customized just for you, using the best equipment and techniques that are available.
Right. Transform your team in 3 simple steps. Schedule a call, customize your training plan, and then begin the best-in-class training.
Theoretical knowledge that a trainer gives is some of the most, if it's only theoretical knowledge, it's extremely dangerous. So don't settle for instructors with just theoretical knowledge. Secure your spots today. Our training slots for the upcoming quarter, they are already starting to book up for us, especially right now, January, February, are rocking and rolling. As a bonus incentive, any class booked from now to the end of the year will receive a complimentary premium subscription for all the attendees.
And we just launched volume 2 of the Nerd HazMat Drills book, and you can check it out for 50 plus training drills to keep your team sharp.
Don't forget to mark your calendars for February 3rd to the 5th of 2026, where you could join us at the Southernmost Hazmat Conference in beautiful Key West, Florida. Connect with industry experts, learn from the best in the field, and enhance your hazardous materials mojo.
So train differently. Visit thehazmatguys.com/hire us to book your customized training experience. And while there, join our mailing list to stay updated on the Southernmost Hazmat Conference and all things hazmat.
Right. And it
build
takes
those type of LMs.
It almost is taking like consensus information, which is still sometimes wrong, but we're sometimes wrong. So I don't think we should look at this as any kind of like an absolute, like this is it, but I think it's a really phenomenal tool. Do you think it's going to make weaker? All right. Here's my question to you. You think about how to phrase this. Do you think it's going to create weaker resource science officers, tech ref, whatever you want to call it? Is it going to make weaker or stronger? And I'm going to contents box that by saying, as we were coming out of the age of books into the age of digital, the old timers were going, oh, this is going to, you're not going to be able to do research. You're going to become a crappy resource person because it's all just going to be there in the electronic form. To which I said, who gives a shit if I never open up a book again, that I'm not good at using something that I don't use anymore. Like, I know how to drive. I don't know how to hook up a horse and buggy. Like, do I need to know how to hook up a horse and buggy? Should I know how to use a horse and buggy?
I think actually it's going to be a net negative. And the reason why I think is because back in the olden days, they knew exactly what they wanted to look up. They knew exactly where it was located. They got the information and acted on it. Okay. And then we got cell phones and apps and stuff like that. And we were able to get more information quicker. And now I think you're going to have almost too much data, like analysis paralysis kind of thing, where I think it's this. And then ChatGPT is going to go, no, it's that. And you're like, oh, maybe I'm wrong, because it's infinitely smarter than us. And I have a feeling that you're going to now go, well, now I have to prove either it or me right. And you're going to be ending up with this reams and reams and reams of data that you're not going to get anything out of. That's what I think it's going to be too much.
You don't think it would be used like just another person's opinion in the huddle? Like, you're like, I think it's sugar. And I'm like, I don't know, man, I think it's salt. And then somebody else comes in and goes, I think that's cocaine. Like, wouldn't it all be how you then take and use that information? If you use it like a crutch where it's like, AI said this is what it is, let's move forward with that, then yeah, I agree with you. But if you use it as just another opinion of a team member, then you can start to, confirmation bias it. You can start to break it apart, find the details. Like, because then it's a tool.
Right.
How you're talking about it, it's a crutch.
Right. If you argue with it like it's a team member, because we all have that team member that's wrong. So it can be wrong or it could be right. And you're going to have to deduce that as the guy.
Right.
That's a good point.
Maybe
I wonder where the limits are.
Maybe that's how this technology comes into play, right? Just like how the technology changed when I went from initial tech to more senior tech. The technology is changing. How we use and how we think about our resource changes. But you may just be getting a tremendous amount of information quicker and be able to come to a decision. But with that said, did the AI do the work? Did it do the job? Did it do the stuff? Like, it didn't did it replace anybody on the team? No. Or did it augment their abilities?
I think it augments. And honestly, I can see when you said the word augment, when you start seeing augmented abilities, like the glasses that have like wording inside or cameras built into it, where now it's almost like the Matrix. Like, I need to know how to fly a helicopter, and then and you got the helicopter. Like, imagine being downrange and then having the chemical physical properties pop up on your windscreen, or that's going to be next level stuff.
An augmented reality, right? That would give us the ability to analyze the scene almost flawlessly. And I'll give you a really good example. In the class that I just finished up with, we gave them a meth lab scenario. So we took a propane tank and we didn't have ammonia to dip the brass valve in, so we just with a marker painted it green, right? So it had essentially a green valve. They took pictures of it. They saw it, but they didn't recognize it. Their brain didn't go, hey, that's an issue. Something like a trained augmented reality that would search for hazards would be able to almost flawlessly pick that up. So maybe it's not making decisions, but maybe it's making sure you have all of the information, that you're not missing something.
I like that. You know what? Do you want to throw up that one piece that we had?
Yeah. So we were talking about this a little bit, and I saw that as a resource tool. And we haven't played with AI as far as response stuff for a while because it just wasn't that great the first time we did it. But now this kind of sparked this whole evolution. So I was sitting there going, okay, well, that's great. It figured out a chemical, but there's still no way that it can give you guidance as to what to do. Like, it just doesn't have the ability to think like that. So I turned around and I went to a very simple ChatGPT. What is this? This is 4.0. So this is the relatively the newer one. It's all updated. I said, act as a hazmat technician. I have a leaking chlorine cylinder in a densely populated area with a radiation source of 5 rems per hour at the source of the leak. What should I do? And I was like, there's no way it's gonna figure it out. It didn't give me extreme details, but it certainly gave me a really good foundational outline to start an operational, pathway. And here's what it said. It said, 1, assess the situation. The leaking chlorine tank. It said, chlorine gas is toxic, potential inhalation hazard. The leak must be contained quickly to minimize exposure. And then it gave me the harm on the rad. 5 rems is a significant radiological source. Exposure time must be minimized. The distance from the source maximized. Use shielding as possible. I mean, when you talk about harm mitigation, you just, like, right there in the first spot, it just went through my hazards and how to minimize those hazards. And it put chlorine kind of as the first thing to do because that's a public hazard. Like, that is gonna, if nobody's around and that spreads to another area, that could be harmful. A 5 rem source is only hazardous if somebody's, playing around in the area.
Right. It's only a big deal if you're there.
Right. So it was, it did a very good job of starting a baseline. I think any company could take this, use it at, just like we talked about the resource. It is a suggestion from a team member. We still apply all of our stuff to figure out, do I want to use that suggestion? Yeah, that's really good. Let's use that suggestion. Yeah, that doesn't fit into the situation. Because
it's not replacing any senior guys or it's just going to plug in as you said, a team member, and that's an important aspect of this.
Yeah, it talks about setting up the hot zones, the warm zone. It doesn't say really how to do it. I'm sure I could turn around and say, "Hey, you said to set up an exclusion zone. How would I go about doing that?" It may or may not give me a list.
It may be able to do that.
Do that right now. How would you go about setting up a hot zone for this incident? All right. So it's saying that first you need to understand the hazards, right? Gives us the chlorine gas, the radiation. It's talking about ALARA. Using your initial assessment, using gas detectors to measure the concentration and radiation detectors to find your radiation values. Identify your safe thresholds. Define the hot zone barrier using your meters. And and it even says radiation considerations. Establish a perimeter where exposure is below 2 millirems per hour for responders. That's right. like that's, it's a great, I don't know. I think it has the potential to be almost like an ERG or for technicians, where it kind of gives you a foundational outline to consider.
Right. Just, guys, for those of you like, I'm going to try this out. We'll use this on an accident. Just remember, your mileage may vary. We're not saying to do this, but, just like, Kevin that's on the team, and everybody knows that Kevin guy, he's, he says stupid things, but you say, Kevin, get the hell out of here. Well, ChatGPT is Kevin sometimes, and you might have to throw him out of the circle.
Yeah. And there have been plenty of times, guys, working with AI, that it pops something up that you're like, that's pretty cool. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, right. And I like that too. Sometimes it does do things that weren't, I don't want to say, sometimes it takes that 30,000 foot view and sees things that you're not seeing, or it can act in different capacities. You can say, well, if you're a cop, what are you looking at?
Right. If I want to secure the scene, what do I do to secure the scene?
So good luck to you guys.
It's cool.